In 1977, my dad took me to see the film A Bridge Too Far. And then for the 40th anniversary, I had a group of friends going out there and I tagged along. And that led to 40 years of researching the battle. September 1944, the Germans are in retreat. So a plan was developed to open a corridor into Germany. This would mean taking 3 main bridges at Eindhoven, Nijmegen and Arnhem. The 1st Airborne were given the task of taking the Arnhem Bridge. Everything at Arnhem was flown in by air. One of the first pilots to fly over to Arnhem with the 21st Independent Parachute Company was Richard Bunker, who's buried in our RAF section. The grave of Wing Commander Richard Bunker. He flew in the 21st Independent Parachute Company. These guys come in first before the Airborne Division was in to mark the drop zones. So his squadron was one of the first to come in. You can see he's 25 years of age. He's already got the DSO, DFC and bar. The bar to his DFC was awarded during Operation Market Garden. On the 3rd day, he came in flying supplies. The lead aircraft was shot down. Richard's aircraft took over. Unfortunately, Richard died in a flying accident later on in the war. So you've seen some of the graves that we've got at Brookwood. The best way to understand the battle is to visit the sites. So here we are now at the Arnhem Bridge. The bridge was renamed after the war, John Frost Bridge. This was in honour of Lieutenant Colonel John Frost, officer commanding the 2nd Battalion of the Parachute Regiment. They formed the main bulk of the men who were here fighting at the bridge. There were other divisional troops here in support, but it was mainly the 2nd Battalion. On the first night, the Sunday night, Major Tatton Warner asked Lieutenant John Grayburn to take on the bridge to see if it was held by any Germans. Lieutenant Grayburn took his platoon across the bridge. They were taken under fire by an armoured car and a pillbox. Lieutenant Grayburn was wounded in the shoulder. All of these men to withdraw, and he was the last man off the bridge. The people who were here and died at this point are remembered in Arnhem Moosterbeek Cemetery, which will be our next visit. We're now at the Arnhem Moosterbeek War Cemetery and we're alongside the grave of Lieutenant John Grayburn. John Grayburn fought at the Arnhem Bridge. He was wounded 4 times. The first time was on the first night. He was involved in every action at the bridge and ultimately he was awarded the Victoria Cross. His body wasn't discovered until 1948 when he was moved over into the Arnhem Moosterbeek War Cemetery, where the cemetery had already been established with over 1,500 other graves that had took part in the operation. So we're now at Yonkers Cemetery. You may remember when we started this journey, we started with Richard Bunker at Brookwood. Richard flew in the 21st Independent Parachute Company, which Kenny Roberts was a member of. Kenny served with No. 1 Platoon. He took part in all the major actions around the Oosterbeek town. And when it was decided to withdraw the 1st Airborne Division back across the Rhine, Kenny was one of the last to leave. He was on the banks of the Rhine as dawn broke, and he took the decision to try and swim across. 3/4 of the way across, he was hit by German machine gun fire and sadly died on the far side of the bank of the Rhine. He's buried here with other members of Market Garden, from 30 Corps to the parachute regiments that were involved. One of the more poignant stories of Operation Market Garden is of Thomas and Claude. Thomas and Claude both served with the 2nd Battalion of the Parachute Regiment in No. 6 Platoon. On the 17th of September, as the battalion was advancing towards the Arnhem Bridge, they were taken under fire on the lower road. Lieutenant Kane was ordered to take his platoon and try and outflank the Germans on the left-hand side. As he advanced, they were fired upon by a German machine gun, which killed Lieutenant Kane, Rogers, and wounded Thomas. Claude, on hearing Thomas had been wounded, went forward, found his brother, and was unfortunately killed by the same machine gun. They were both brought to the Arnhem Moosterbeek Cemetery and lay side by side. You can find Thomas and Claude's story, and many more, on our Forevermore page on our website.